Our psyche learns to function in the presence of the new by projecting its history onto the world.
By projecting all of these bad feelings onto other people, bad traits and qualities, we see them in other people. We point the finger at other people. We judge other people. We attack other people. We blame other people.
Absolutely, yes. All of us do.
I don't know what she's projecting, but the way she asked the question, it sounds like it may be around negative thoughts that she has about herself.
Discharge of negative emotions that the narcissist has towards their true self. They release that on you.
That other people are like mirrors who reflect back to us many of our own unconscious traits and tendencies.
Welcome back to the channel. It's Imran X Monster, aka known as Glacier, breaking down the icebergs of life. Now, today I have a conversation that I feel like one man alone cannot explain. I feel like it takes a brother, a partner, an outside looking in to really explain this topic. Self-projection. Many people like to implement what happens to them onto you. They like to almost, in a sense, bring you down to their level so that way they can maybe try to correlate with you, but you have to understand that sometimes that's not really the best. Sometimes, you know, it's their fears that are holding you back. Sometimes it's the hesitation that they had, the steps that they couldn't take, the discipline that they didn't have in themselves, that they try to put that onto you, but you have to realize you're your own person.
First off, my name is Will, or William. As far as the self-projection goes, just to get into it, kind of like I was just kind of describe it a little bit. Like you said, it's like our survival tactic, our natural survival tactic, and that's just how we navigate the world to determine whether we are doing something we feel like we're supposed to do, or we're not doing what we feel like we're supposed to do, or if somebody is like us or if somebody is not like us, and stuff like that. So I guess everybody knows what it is already, self-projection. As far as my experience with it, again, I think everybody naturally does it. And so when I first got into realizing the danger, like the pros and cons of self-projection, was when I started to read. When I started reading books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and like books like Think Again, or books like Think and Grow Rich, it started to open my eyes to a common denominator of all those books was they kept saying, don't take things personally. And the reason they were saying don't take things personally is because if you take something personally, you are basically taking how you experience life and how you view life, putting that onto somebody else and thinking they're trying to use that against your mindset when you take something personally, as if somebody actually knows you and everything you've been through. When someone has their own way of like thinking about things and have their own experience in life as to how they think and navigate this life. So that's when I first got kind of enlightened to it. I didn't really know what to do with that at first when I read about it until I experienced it when I was out. Or like little situations where I'm at work. It happens a lot at work when me and somebody else are working on something and we both have different ways of going at it. I have my way of thinking, so when I think and I work, it's like, okay, I want to make sure it's neat, I want to make sure we're doing it right, and I want to make sure we're doing it as quick as we can. Most of the people in the trade don't, like, you know what I'm saying, they'll think about one of those things, like, all right, let's make sure it's neat, but they won't think about the speed. Or let's make sure we just like finish it as fast as we can so we can be better than the next man. So that causes a lot of button heads as far as my work goes. And I started to realize this once I started to read books. Also, in dealing with my social relationships, like friends, family members, and like just people in general, I started to see how I was using self-projection onto people.
So what would you say is the biggest issue that comes with self-projection?
The biggest issue that comes with self-projection, I think, is taking things personally, or thinking that everybody should navigate this life how you navigate it. I think that's the biggest issue, and I think that's the most common thing that you see. Like, I think where most jealousy comes from, or where most people like have that envy feeling, is because they see what somebody may do, right? Or they see how somebody may think of a certain way, and they have never experienced something or even thought of thinking it that way. So naturally, it's like, well, why would you do it like that? You only know you're one way, and you can only go off of something that you know. So naturally, we fear what we don't know. You trying to be like a big influencer, and there's people around your circle who don't know big influencers and never have tried that ambition, had that ambition. They don't know what it takes. They don't know what comes with that and stuff like that. So they'll naturally be like, why would you want to do that? Like, it's a natural fear, and then we act out of fear as like a survival instinct. us trying to use that to manipulate people, and us trying to use that to judge how other people should live their life. So that's what I think the biggest issue with self-projection.
The biggest issue that it's not even noticeable at first is that it's almost like people try to shape you to be who they are. The limitations that they had and the character growth that they may have missed out on, they push that onto you so that way they want you to stay within their environment, their atmosphere. Sometimes what you're going to understand with life is that, you know, you're going to grow and you're going to eventually find who you are, and the more that you start to navigate your own being, you're going to realize that other people just want to keep you there, and sometimes they don't want what's best for you, and it's not even like they're intentionally trying to harm you. They don't know what's unknown. The more somebody has fear, the more that they are hesitant to really go after it because they just have no guarantee. Many people like to stay in a comfortable environment. I like to preach on this channel that you have to go out of your comfort zone in order to grow, because people stay in that level of just comfort. They never seek the discomfort, and so in doing so they always should tell people, just do this, just do that, just stay in the lane that you're going at. But sometimes you have to realize that you have to go in your own lane. When you go in your own lane, you're gonna find yourself, and you may find out that sometimes you may be even better than the person that was trying to hold you back, and it's just up to you to discover that for yourself. So to wrap it up, what would you say would be the best way to combat this? What do you think would be a definitive solution to help with this issue?
Well, this is what I say is like a common solution that, you know what I'm saying, I think it gets overskipped a lot. Just working on yourself and knowing yourself. A lot of times are out here moving without a purpose. We're out here moving without intentions. When you move without purpose and you move without intentions, you're gonna just go to whatever crowd thinks you belong to, that you think you belong to, because you don't know yourself. You're looking at whatever you've experienced in life, what you deem cool, what you deem successful, whatever you deem prosperous, and you will align yourself with that because of, like you said, you don't have your own intentions. So you need to feel like, we all want to feel like we belong, and that's where also where self-projection comes from. Do I belong in this situation? Do I belong this person? Do I belong in this group? And that's what we kind of feed off of as humans, basically. So without intentions and without a motive, you're going to just flock to whatever you think is nice. So you need to get to know yourself first. A lot of us don't. That don't ever stop. You have to constantly learn yourself because you're constantly changing and constantly going through new things. So I would say constantly learn yourself. Once you learn yourself, and that's where we were talking about confidence the other time, that's where that comes in. Once you learn yourself, you won't feel the need to self-project yourself. You will stop taking things personally, and you also won't look at other people as that they should be defined in your image. Not only are you going to be way more confident, but you're going to be way more comfortable in discomfort. You're going to be comfortable in the fact that you know, or if you don't know, you'll get comfortable in the fact that you can learn. Once you become confident in your ability to learn, discomfort won't be such a bad thing for you. That won't even be your vocabulary. Something will happen that's where you're not achieving your goal, and you'll think of it as, all right, what do I need to shift? What do I need to think about so that I can achieve whatever I intend to achieve? And so without intentions and without like a purpose, you can't even start this conversation.
Everything at the end of the day, when you're a man, comes down to finding your purpose. It all comes down to finding who you are, because when you don't know who you are, you're just a wanderer. You're just trying to find where you belong. So you start picking up all these people, you start meeting all these new friends that you think are your friends, and they could be lovely people, but they're just not truly who you are. You have to find who you are in order for you to grow, and that takes time. It's a journey. Self-improvement is a process. You have to be patient. That's why I would say you have to invest in it. It's going to help you in the long run. You may not see the benefits reading a book about self-improvement in the short term, but when you actually start applying the principles of what you read, you're going to see that the habits, the boundaries that you even set for yourself, your life is going to slowly be improved. It's not just a straight slope line of growth going straight up. You're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have good days, but as long as you stick to your principles and you don't let anybody try to speak for you and try to control your life, control your narrative, then you're gonna have full control over your life. At the end of the day, you know, I'm not a preacher. You know, we really don't preach. You know, we're just some guys talking.
If you want to. If you want to listen, you can. If you want to get on this, you can. But if not, go enjoy yourself. Go do what you got to do.
Thank you for watching.